Full name is Dr. Kenny Akinwale. I currently have a couple of businesses. One of them were inside of which is the Detroit Seafood Market. It's a fine dining restaurant in downtown Detroit. We also have a company called Raymond Services, which in the construction space, basically, we do renovations, we do refrigeration, name it, we do electric power, all the electric power, all of that stuff. No, that's another. And then we have a couple more. And then we do a little bit of consulting. Hedge fund guys on Wall Street, based on the restaurant industry. Well, that's an excellent question. Actually, my last job before I left and decided to go on my own was with a company called Aramark. And what Aramark does is they provide food and facility management for universities, colleges, campuses, parks, corrections, school districts, hospitals, regular office buildings. So from that, my role was twofold. I had a responsibility for 7 states, and my job was to oversee the food aspect and the facility aspect. So my background is really in the food service industry, but because I became a vice president of operations for both food and facilities, that kind of gave me in that field, constructions and all, and renovations and naming. So it's a total package.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It was a process. I was getting older, and I've been in corporate America at that point for 25 years. So I decided to develop a plan that would get me out of corporate America in 12 months while I had the opportunity to do this. At first, this was a partnership. I was still working for corporate America at the time. It was a decent partnership. It was a decent partnership, and when I decided to do this, like I said, it was planned. So what I did was I made sure that I have the means in the process. So the good news for me was we started this in 2008 with a partner. I was back in Nigeria at the time. I went home on vacation. So the partnership stopped, and I believe January 2010. I went in alone from then on to own it solely with me and my wife, of course. And we decided to finance this. It was like, if I tell you there wasn't a little butterfly in my stomach, I'll be lying to you. Living the comfort of a very strong 6-figure salary with a lot of benefits, stock options, all that. So I had to jump and say, you know what? I can't let that stop me, because you can't truly reach your potential unless you take the chance to go out and a leap of faith, jump out without knowing what you want, how you're going to do it, what resources is available, and I've enjoyed since. The difference is, with a corporate job, you're tied to something. You really don't have, even as a vice president of operations, you still have some restrictions. You also have a blanket. You get a paycheck. When doing it on your own, you don't have that. There's no safety net. It's all you. You either make it or break it. And it takes a lot of focus, planning, discipline for you to get to that point. Actually, I would say I've been lucky in this country to have some, what I call, good people along the way that kind of encourages you to say, hey, listen, you don't know the capability that you have sometimes.
Sure.
So all I was used to is working hard, being the first one to get in, the last one to get out. And that paid off. So when I look at my first general manager when I first got to this country, me being naive and saying to him, you know what, I could do a better job than your assistant manager in front of them. This was back in '83. And he took me up on the offer. And he said, really, you could do that? I said, yeah. I was a cook. I was frying chicken. I was cooking burgers. I was doing fries, roast beef, all of that. I was a back of the line guy. But I saw the capability. I'm like, if this is what these guys do, I can clearly do better. He gave me the opportunities. I never forget, his name is Doug Woodring. That was the first person that kind of helped me. And then along the way, I've been lucky and fortunate to have, actually one of my old boss was here a couple of nights ago. He brought a crew of people. He's been retired since. A group of 7 white guys, they were here. And he was introduced me to the group. He was the one that gave me the opportunity from being a general manager to being a division training instructor. At that time, I went from Roy Rogers to Pizza Hut. And then from that opportunity as a district manager, I was able to have another person, Jerry Boss. This guy was Rene Boer. I don't forget this guy's name. And then Jerry gave me an opportunity to decide if I want to be a regional director, if I want to go to corporate office. And at the time, I made a decision to go to the corporate office because I wanted to know behind the scene what we do and how we do it. At that point, we were part of PepsiCo. We're a food division of PepsiCo. So what that does is it gave me an insight into how corporate system works. So unbeknown to me, normally when you go to corporate office, on your way out, you become a regional, what they call head coach, if you will. So you run like 2 states maybe. But at the point, I was being asked by my main mentor, even till today, he's the current CEO and owner of Potbelly's. His name is Owen Lewis. He would ask me to come to Louisville, Kentucky, but my wife wasn't interested. So we decided to go with Aramark, who was bugging me for like a year and a half, and I kept saying, no, I'm good, I have a great job. I decided to go with them with the promise that I would get a vice presidency position in a year. And needless to say, that took more than a year. But, you know, I had to prove myself to them. So along the way, it's just having a couple, I believe it's since 1986, 85. I've never looked for a job. It's been somebody tapping me on the shoulder and saying, somebody asked us to call you, we need you. Wow. So it's always been like that until I left in 2010. So my inspiration has been a lot of people, white and black. It has been very supportive of my career, gave me encouragement along the way to say, hey, you have this capability. You start tuning into those things. So that helps tremendously. The challenge is not really the competition. The challenge is having a quality of workforce, consistent workforce that's honest, that has integrity, to get your business to the level where it needs to be. And you cannot sleep on the job. This is not a corporate system that you have a corporation backing you. I make all the decisions daily. The challenge is basically recruiting, training, developing, and maintaining a very quality workforce. That's where the competition is. Everybody wants the best of the best. We're lucky to have some of them, but we're still reinventing ourselves every day, every week. Like I just brought in a whole new back of the house, from the executive chef all the way down. They're all new back there. So it's a process. The goal is to make sure the public and the regular guest doesn't see that as minimum as possible. So that's where we are. That's the biggest challenge, is having the adequate workforce to get the job done. I see myself 5 years from now probably owning something, clearly doing what I'm doing now, but being a lot more comfortable doing it, if you know what I mean. Maybe having 1 or 2 more sites, maybe expanding my construction business a little more. And we're constantly doing a project that's going to take us to do about 200 houses, renovating and getting it out to the market. They have people waiting to move into those places. So I work with a lot of partners to get the things going so that we can get as much as we can come to us and be more effective more. As much when I finish talking to you, I'm going to go check out the site to see how that's going. But other than that, 5 years from now, who knows? I'd love to retire with a few dollars in my pocket. It's all about discipline. It's all about knowing exactly what you want out of life. You can't sit on your laurel. I tell people all the time, you have to look for 5 or 6 sources of income. Not 1, not 2, 5 or 6. So when the one is struggling, at least you're maintaining the other. So for me, it's all about what's the next thing that I can do that will have impact in the community that I'm in, which means provide jobs so people can feed their family. We have about 67 employees in this building. Yeah, our payroll is about, 58,000 every month. Discipline is also making sure people understand the huge responsibility that we have. This is only a $3 million operation, but it's a lot of moving parts to it. So you have to make sure all these moving parts are in place. I would give my wife the 100% credit for allowing me to do what I do. If it wasn't for her taking care of the boys, making sure we're straight, I don't know if I'll be able to get to this point where I am today. So she gets all the credit for that. She gets 100% credit for that. I can't say anything more sweeter or better than she's been nothing but a rock behind everything that I've done. He's one thing, probably professionally, probably start earlier. Don't let fear stop you from doing what you know you can do. I would probably say for me, leaving corporate America after 26 years, I would have led maybe after 20 years. So I would have been further along. The reason why I said that is, every day when I sit here, there's so many opportunities that comes across my table on my desk that I can choose to, okay, I want to be a part of that, I want to invest in that, no, I'm not interested in that. So I get a lot of opportunity, not only for that, but also to mentor young people like you and see their business grow to like $500,000 in a matter of a year and be able to still guide them and still meet with them every month and still kind of challenge them with what they need to look at. That's one thing that I want to change. Because what it does is it keeps the door wide open for other opportunities, which I've had my share of so far. For me, my wife always says I'm always cool. But for me, I live by, I don't know how familiar you are, it's called Serenity Prayer. If you look at that, if you read that, I try not to worry about things I have no control over, and I take action on things that I do have control over, and I hope that I have God give me the knowledge and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. If things are not going well, I can't sit there and throw a pity party. The next thing is, so what do we do next? How do we solve this? What do we need to do? So you constantly have to move, constantly have to reinvent yourself, constantly have to challenge yourself. It's easy to get comfortable.
That's true.
But you don't want to get to that point because it's probably your worst enemy is to be comfortable. So you never want to be comfortable. I love toys. You can see that. I love technology because I can, on my phone here, I can show you everything that's going on in the kitchen, in the office. I can show you me see. I can show you the sales that we did. This is this morning so far. For example, you see this is what we did yesterday and it gave me the data. I can also show you, I have 26 cameras, that's the front. And if I really want to, I can switch the camera from one, just on my phone. I have it on my iPad, I have it at home, and I can look at each. That's the front, that's the back is coming up, that's the office, my manager's office. This is the back, you can see that. And this is where the boys are, you just saw them. You can see that going upstairs, that's coming up. And right here, if I really want to see the whole back of the kitchen, you can see that as well. And I can see everything, that's the kitchen, that's the chef doing prep for the day. Okay. You can see that. If I want to see, that's where the boys are. If I want to see the back of the building, I can see that as well.
That's really nice.
If I want to see the door to the basement and make sure that's locked, I can see that. Wow. If I want to see my liquor room, technology using the data, my staff will tell you, I'm a numbers guy. I use technology and data to run my business. I don't run it on a whim. I let the data take me to where it is. So for example, how we develop our menu is based on what the guests like. We put it out there to see what sells. Chef knows what he's going to prep today because he knows what he's done in the past. Same day, the day before, same day last year, then same day last month, same day last week. So he can then figure out, okay, this is what I need to prep for today without having too much prep, without running out. Sure. So technologies help with the productivity. I see how my people perform in terms of labor. I can tell them, why do you have this many people in the clock when you're doing this kind of business? So it's hard for them to argue or not do their job because they know I'm looking. First thing I do is, in the morning, I do what I call a debrief. So I get up, look at my Bible verse that shows up on my phone. There's an app that I have, Gandhi. It has some quotation that are pretty nice. Okay. When I go through that, I reflect on some of those things. Look at my day, what I have planned for the day, any adjustment I need to make. And then kind of debrief myself before I get out and get to work. It is that I have to do that day, but consistently I'm always reflecting before I do anything. Well, the first thing I have a list of accomplishments I have to have, and then everything else works around that. Sometimes that may change. For example, what's supposed to meet on Monday. That changed a little bit. So that may change, and I try to make sure I stick to my plan. But typically, you leave yourself flexible. So what I do, and I've learned that in corporate America, is you don't fill your schedule for the whole day. You make your schedule flexible. So you can have a time that you kind of keep open just in case something pops up. Don't carry too much, don't do too much. Just have enough to make your day productive, so when something comes up, you can always
adjust.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people open up restaurants and ask me. One of them is my good friend. I opened a cola restaurant in Farmington Hills. I've enjoyed working with them. I'll let them know all the mistakes that I made so that they avoid the same pitfalls. I enjoy that. I also encourage them to support each other, support themselves. I give them the reality of the business. It's an everyday business. There's no day off. Even if you're off, you still go through it in your head, you're still thinking about it. There's so many things you still do. Professionally, I would say spend my day would be home with Lewis. Like I said, he's the current part owner and chief operating CEO of Pork Bellies. You may want to Google him. It's a very quiet owner. It used to be the president and CEO of Kmart and Sears. He was my chief operating officer at Pizza Hut. So that's somebody I would like to pick his brain. That's somebody I'm trying to aspire to be. He's done a great job really developing and nurturing a lot of us along the way. So that's somebody I'd like to spend a day with just to see what's going on. There's always, you can always spend a lot of money on marketing. I strongly believe if there's something is consistency around quality service, around product quality, around the message that you give, all of that's got to flow. And then having the ambiance and the environment in which you deliver these things. That's what I would say. The only thing I'll say is nothing is going to come to you, so you have to go get it. You have to get up, you have to be aggressive. You're going to get knocked down a few times, but you can't use that as your excuse as to why you can't get things done. You have to keep moving. You can't let anything discourage you. If you want it, you have to go get it. And somebody else is trying to get it. So you have to be up to the task, you have to be aggressive with it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have a plan, you have to work that plan. And then you have to adjust the plan.